The bottom line is that politics today is in a sick and sorry state, and I regret to say journalists, broadly speaking, are in no position to throw stones. More often than not in Australia, the practice of politics these days seems flat, uninspirational, banal, superficial, uniform, orchestrated, defensive, manipulative, dominated by cynicism, polls, private as well as public, and spin. The 2010 federal election campaign provided plenty of fodder for critics of both politicians and journalists. And I acknowledge, absolutely, and I'm not just throwing it in there as a bit of tokenism, I acknowledge absolutely that there are many good people in representative politics today, and there are many good journalists. And there are many politicians who tread a weary path through the processes of politics and are lesser people by the time they come out the other end. But there are some who still have the fire burning in their belly and who still feel good about themselves when they finish. I hope that's not a diminishing quality. In his quarterly essay last December titled Trivial Pursuit, the respected News Limited political journalist and author George Megalogenis said he hadn't seen a campaign so awful in his 20 years of journalism. I would argue the same for my 45 years. Megalogenis, quote, "It was a flip of a coin who was more annoying, the robotic Prime Minister or the relentlessly negative opposition leader. Two amiable and intelligent politicians had frozen together. They delivered no memorable quotes, let alone policies, merely slogans that quickly became punchlines at their own expense, moving forward, and the real Julia versus stop the boats and end the waste. The election year," he said, "felt like one long domestic dispute." But he doesn't let journalists off the hook either. In his new book, Sideshow, just published, the former senior Rudd Minister Lindsay Tanner says in his opening line, "The 2010 election campaign was widely derided as the worst in living memory." Would he have said that had he been contesting it and got back? But he went on to lay the blame substantially at the door of journalists. Quote, "Under siege from commercial pressure and technological innovation, the media are retreating into an entertainment frame that has little tolerance for complex social and economic issues." Well, Lindsay, I once worked for a newspaper in Sydney called The Sun, and what I was told in those days that I should be aiming for a mental age in my readers of 9 to 10. So there are some things that haven't changed, but I should tell you I resisted.